Okay, hello everyone. So, to be honest, I'm really exhausted. But I thought, why not? Maybe before this, tiring day ends, maybe there's something to add. To be honest, I've written the title Transcendental Leadership. I guess the first thing is the leader needs to have energy. So really, when it comes to leadership, we're leading in some sense others. And the reason we lead others is because they can't lead themselves yet. The idea is that if everybody can lead themselves, we don't need like a leadership like that. It's kind of like they asked Buddha, "Hey Buddha, after you die, is there going to be another Buddha?" And Buddha was like, "Nah." Because Buddhism would have spread so much that everybody would be experiencing the Buddhic nature. You see, even Lao Tzu said it, once the leader's task is done, the people will say we did it ourselves. So anybody who goes into a leadership position, as much as it is like a status thing, it's also a selfless thing. It's honestly like the world has been programmed. There's something called worldhood, which in philosophy refers to the nature and characteristics of the world in which we live. Now, based on the dimensions we see to reality, there's different types of worldhood. For example, physical worldhood, biological worldhood, psychological worldhood, social worldhood, spiritual worldhood. Aesthetic worldhood, moral worldhood, epistemological worldhood, ontological worldhood. The thing is, in this life, they make you think that thinking is all about you thinking, but in actuality, a lot of things can be understood through their context. So if somebody just wanted to use their common sense and IQ, right, it's as if what's the one context that holds everything. It's pretty much like you as a human being learning anything is equating to studying the world. So if anybody has learned anything, it has been about the world. So what I'm trying to say is, like, a human being is thinking from their own inner realm personal context, but an advanced communicator thinks from the outer realms also. You know, I thought about it that could two non-physical beings become friends? And then I thought, like, if they become friends, what are they becoming friends about? What do they have to talk about? You see, when it comes to human affairs, like something I hadn't figured out when I was younger, pretty much three things a person can talk about. You can talk about yourself, you can talk about others, that which is outside of you, and then you can talk about the world pretty much. You know? I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt who said something in the lines of, like, small minds talk about people, average minds talk about events, great minds talk about ideas. Now, why do great minds talk about ideas? Because ideas become necessary when there's a future involved. Anytime you want to do something, if you pay attention, any movement, the future is involved. The consideration of the future, the consideration of your existence in space, the consideration of your psychology in space. And you know, something I had to kind of come to terms with is that it's an incomplete system. What does that mean? That means mankind, due to being the small and the big, will always feel like it's incomplete. So, transcendental leadership. Now, I'll be honest, I can't say I'm a person who, as a child, I've experienced people gravitate towards me like I'm some leader or something. Actually, the opposite. You know, I have a twin brother. I remember seeing his presence more as a leader. You know, but, you know, as what's his name, Shakespeare says, some people are born great, some people achieve greatness, and some people have greatness thrust upon them, and some people are all three, believe it or not. For example, the Buddha. He was born great, then he in some sense achieved greatness by in some sense getting rid of the suffering, problem of suffering. And then the moment he saw suffering, do you understand, when he saw the problem, that's when greatness was thrust upon him. You see, what's remarkable about every great person in history is they could have not done what they did. Oh man. So much of this life feels like solo piloting. Where are we all being led when the idea of transcendental leadership comes into play? It's a suggestion of the leadership of the activities of not one dimension, but of multiple dimension. So imagine wanting to lead Not just 8 billion biological bodies, but 8 billion non-physical unknown forces of mind. You see, it's very strange, we are never what we appear to be. We say we don't judge a book by its cover, but then we fall in love with the cover of the book. They say don't judge a book by its cover, but if you don't judge the book by its cover, you won't buy the book. How hilarious is that? And to be honest, what can I say? What can I say? Past, present, future, past, present, future, past, present, future. In the past, we have examples of leadership. In the present, we are here to experience our own leadership. In the future, in some sense, we don't know who we will lead, but we will be creating the world they will be led in. It's fascinating. It's like I'm wondering about where is myself being led? Where is my species? Where am I going? Where is my species going? Where is the world going? And what was the value of the existence of our experience here? It's so bizarre, it's as if all the religions are saying selfless, but in some sense it's like, what do we do as being a player in a video game, right? And so one thing we know is that the player has to go interact with reality. Everything feels like from a distance to me. Imagine some people are like, yo, how far is the future? And somebody's like, yo, it's exactly this many kilometers away. And somebody's like, kilometers? You kidding me, bro? We talking about time. And the person's like, no, it's a distance. I don't know. I guess as a human being, I've reached that point where the strategies I've implemented, or my capacity of interpretation of what has happened in life so far, it's weird. If I treat myself as a natural entity, there's no such thing as failure and victory. It was just something nature was doing. As if this whole life was a natural event, and my suffering was how I was zooming in on one point of it. I guess in some sense, transcendental leadership means having faith. Because what do you do once you understand your limits? What do you do when you see, like, you know what failure is? Failure is like your inner life has an expectation. It wants to reach something at a certain time. And when it doesn't, it feels it in some sense. Because given a long enough time span, it's like everybody has the potential to succeed, right? Imagine somebody doesn't know how to cook an egg, and then every day they tried, eventually, like after maybe like the 12th day, they're like, yo, my God, this wasn't that hard. I don't know, I'm reaching that point where, believe it or not, I'm starting to notice I've talked too much. I've talked to such a degree that the inner realm events and the outer realm events that have happened, it's like after some point, the thing about life, it's hilarious. The days repeat so many times that your opinions on what the day means go away. So imagine someone realizing, like, yo, all these little things that bothered me today, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and it's not going to bother me. Like, I'm going to forget about it. So our suffering is really what enters our long-term memory, Let's say suffering from a psychological worldhood, where Mr.Within calls it the inner house. There's a poetry book I wrote in 2016. This poem is called "The Moment is Glorious." The poetry book is called Rahmana. It says, don't choose until the essence of your choice is clear. A bird can fly into a window with a reflection of a sky, but the ignorance of death never needs to be there. Do not fear the ear of assumption when truth emanates from you. Who has told the sun it cannot shine? The fervor of animus death is an amorphous gift. All men are free once they realize they're being all that they're doing. Give the king a crown beyond the throne. The sands of time may fall from between your fingers, but the warrior within remains undisturbed. Is a video game another excuse for life? Be unshaken through all that shakes you. The moment is glorious once you are. And one last poem, the poem right after, it's called Shining Beyond Thought. Did Morpheus stay in the drugstore too long, or did Neo dodge the bullets of space and time? Some agencies are corrupt through the ignorance of the grace of destiny. The greatest acknowledgement is a world that breathes at once. What shines beyond thought? Can starlight think? What gave the madman a key to an open door? What gives the madman a key to an open door? Do not be convinced by temporal worlds when your presence eternally speaks. Who has written these words? For neither the ink is mine nor the page. I am a passing moment convinced by the voice of my echo. All are one within the one. Give yourself a freedom untouched. And I'll end the episode here. This was a short episode. There's more to say, guys, but you know, I've reached a point where when it comes to the inner realms, I can kind of like direct human beings to like activating their inner realms. But the idea is more than we need intelligence, we need decency. And decency only comes when the heart activates. And the heart is a different site than your